My name is Adam Sean. Just finished up a gig over here at the resort in Cocoa Beach and figured this might be a good time to, while everything's still set up, to kind of give a quick main drag rig rundown of some of the pedals and different gear up front that I use in my solo show. So here we go. Starting with the axe, we got the guitar, got a Fender Acoustasonic. I actually have a Telecaster model as well as the Strat model, but the Strat model is my main drag one. It's the American-made one because that's all they had when I got it, so I definitely invested. And they come out of the custom shop department, and this one, just the way it was just put together and the way everything interacts with each other through the pickups, it is the most crisp sounding of the two and really does things well for what I do in my solo show. Obviously, I've been playing it enough, and they don't have a pick guard and stuff. You see that I've worn a hole in it. Definitely have put some miles on this bad boy, even though it's probably less than 5 years old still. This guitar is exceptional for what I do. Basically, it's built for what I do of playing acoustic rhythm, as well as having the option to get more of electric tones for leads, as well as doing body percussion on the guitar. It's a 5-switch, but it's 10-way with this switches between 2 voicings. Gives you the option to really be able to do that. Now granted, it has tons of different acoustic voicings, and as a peaking musician, you only use like maybe 3 settings most of the time for practicality. So first position's acoustic, third position it does the pickup to pick up all the great body tones and stuff I can get for those kick snare patterns, and then electric tones are down there. Bam bam. Then the guitar runs over to the pedal board, and this is what I got going on. Initially we have our Shure GLX wireless guitar system. That also is my tuner. That's a great wireless system. I very much recommend it if you're looking for a great wireless system. It has options that you can get on different frequencies and stuff, and so when you're in a busy place with a lot of different RF signals and everything going through the air, that you can usually eventually find a place to get around it and not get any interference. And it's always great to have a tuner. 2 for 1, one of them. That runs into my Fender Tone Master Pro. It's just Fender's answer to Helixes and everything. I enjoyed this one because I came from being a stomp box analog guy and still enjoy that. And while you can make different patches and stuff like you can on a Helix, I enjoyed this one because you can build it like a pedal board, and it may be hard to see, but on the screen, everything lays out like a pedal board. As you activate some things here, that you can actually build it just like an analog pedal board and have a lot of control in that familiar sort of pathway of doing things, which I really enjoyed a lot. And so for my setup that I'm doing right now, I have the vocals run through independently to one channel, just straight up vocal through my Boss VE500 over here further down in the chain. That just gives some extra effects as well as some vocal harmonies. And then the guitar runs through the Tone Master Pro through the VE500 just for the harmony tuning as a through instrument, and then runs out that canvas line isolator out. So I have vocals on track 1 on their own with only going through the VE500, guitar just straight ahead of when I'm playing live on channel 2 on its own. And then that runs over to my loop station over here that we have the Boss RC500. Hoping maybe I might be able to upgrade to a 600 here sometime in the near future, since I'm doing more of my looping, but I've been finding great ways to use what I have and still do some cool stuff with it. Basically a 2-track loop system. Running that, we usually track 1 is a lot of my percussion type stuff. Track 2 is usually bass and or chords to solo over. Give or take, that's just how my workflow goes currently. And lately, I've actually reprogrammed things to actually run that to where I run 2 separate outputs, or I've split these into mono outputs to run track 1 and track 2 on its own designated output, so I can run that out to track 3 and 4. Here, the mixer used 4 total tracks on the solo show, but I have full control of the mix over all of it. So I have a Boss foot switch over here. Since I've got the next thing I'm going to talk about for my mic input into the looper, this I've programmed to just become an all clear. So we want to set a loop here and set a loop here. I funked around with the settings to where I can just basically hit that and it clears everything out in one go if I want to speed some things up with that. And then finally line isolator up there. is more micro power. I've been using the more micro power since I first started building pedal boards, and they've never let me down. A small footprint, and they just kick ass. But they're not expensive if you can find them. I think about 80, 90 bucks, and it's a great power supply. And then I just recently got this XLR AB foot switch. Found one custom made on Etsy and waited for it to come from Australia. That really has upped things for me doing microphone looping. So my vocals come into my Boss B500 over here, and then the output of that is going into the main input here, and then this just switches between outputs for me. So this output is the one that goes out to the mains, that's the mixer for my main vocal, and then when I want to use my microphones to loop, I hit this and that runs that one into the RC500 and do some looping, which has been a freaking great addition to this whole setup, because before I had to use this switch as a mic mute, and sometimes it was hard to tell if you had the mic muted, you go to loop and have the mic come through, or you go to loop something on the mic and it doesn't go through. It just makes it to where there's no more questions to be asked as to whether it's going into the loop station or not for when I'm doing any looping with microphone stuff, the percussion and everything. Now, I used to run all of that out to my B50M into the internal mixer, but lately, the tones I've been getting out of an external mixer, I just had I fully recommend those EV50M systems, because they sound phenomenal. Actually, I'm getting ready to head off to a band show now, and searching for the band, I have two of these. And we literally string two of them together, and it automatically makes it to where they read as a stereo pair. And we'll probably use the analog mixer knife, but we've worked for the last year actually using the internal mixer, because when you run the Ethernet cable, if you can believe that, it opens it up to having an 8-channel mixer with each mixer on each side. But that's a conversation for another day. It's just the solo gear video, and that is the main drag of general stuff. There's all my percussion, little handheld percussion and stuff that's come by to throw at the gig. And then one great addition that I've made recently is buying myself a comfy mat to stand dog. Makes mixing the gigs a lot less tiring, especially when you're doing a double day like today. And that's pretty much a rundown of the most interesting things involved in my solo setup. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's any cool stuff that you've come across in your own setups to recommend, or if you got anything from mine that inspired you for something for your own setup, or if you really want to dive into it and get into all that non-exciting stuff, cables, all that other little knickknacks that make everything happen, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Oh yeah. Peace.